Exactly what you make it, so please don't go wasting. And I'll do the same, even if it's raining. How could I complain? And my feels got me feeling some type of way. You always free to take a break. Hope you feel what I felt. You gotta look after yourself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded. Like how the clouds keep changing, I'm always steady rearranging. Going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. What a good day is.
All right, it is that time. Y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. Let's go. Shout out to Keely for kicking off the show the right way. Happy Tuesday, gang. Hopefully y'all are doing well. We up in this thing. Oh, I see the ones in the chat. Yes, sir. You know what time it is. Let's see how we're looking, though. How are we looking this morning? Ooh-wee. Looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats, ClassEbeats.com, and we're going to get into it. Got a lot to cover today. I know y'all saw the title. We're going to be talking about Yak Gotti, emergency motion for bond, and he has some new representation. We knew Shannon was getting taken care of, but it looks like Kayla is out here putting in work. We're going to talk about it here in a second. Of course, Jayz, he is not backing down, for real. Jayz is ready to fight this thing, take it all the way, and stand on business. So we're going to get into it. And of course, maybe today we'll eventually cover Drake. My guy Drake, man, has been put on the back burner for too many weeks now. So we might talk about Drake today. But first, I got to say what's up to the people. To start off, of course, my awesome, amazing Amy is in here as always. Kicking off the show the right way, reminding y'all to like the video. Please like the video on your way in here. We've got Debbie's in the building. I saw the honorable attorney Kel Bell in here, CM Baller, Lavisa, Nicholas, Ryan, Lady E. We got Leona, Drama Llama, Stuck Farmers in here, Joyce Walker, A Fitz. We've got Siobhan. I messed up her name. I apologize, Siobhan. I can't read. It's bad. My guy JB Brown is in the building. Shout out to JB. Babs Davies is up in here. Deja's in the building. We've got Dietrich. Good to see you. And Rena. Who else? We've got Bitter Lily in the building. And F is up in here. My dog Rice Street's in the building. Oh, shoot. John, salute to you. Thank you for your service, sir. Good to see you in the building as always. We've got Dennis Bergeron is in the building as well. Good to see you, Dennis. Nikki's in here. Shay, Susan. Oh my gosh, we've got Connie is in the building. Good to see y'all, man. Thank you for dropping the ones in the chat and let me know that we're good. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it. If y'all could, please make sure that you like the video. Not only is it free, not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the YouTube algorithm know that y'all are enjoying the show and it shares the video with more people. So if y'all could take 2 seconds and do that, please do that. And shout out to everybody who's subscribing too. Connie G just subscribed. I appreciate y'all. Okay, let's go ahead and get right into it. We've got a lot to cover today. Oh yeah, I see John asking me about Daniel Penny. I'm thinking about the direction I want to go with this channel. You know, I say recently, it's been 12 months now. At the beginning of the year, I went an entirely different direction with this channel. I used to do music reviews wholly on this channel in the morning, and then we covered a little bit of topics that were in the music industry. And then 6 months ago, started covering what was happening in the YSL trial and really took things in another direction. And now I feel like we're starting to not only broaden our audience, but see a lot more people who have a lot of different interests. And that's something I was thinking about covering, getting into, in addition to what's going on with the United Healthcare assassin, I guess is what they're calling him now. So that may be something we get into at some point. I'm still thinking about and deciding where we're going to go. Listen, man, with this YouTube thing, you can never know what's going to happen. So I really want to focus on just finding things that we all find interesting that are related to these trials. And that might be something that we talk about on the channel as well. So thank y'all for always giving ideas too. If you ever have any ideas on what you want to see covered on this channel, I'm always appreciative of y'all giving your insight and thoughts into what's going on, what you want to see us cover. So if y'all could comment on the videos or even over on the community side, let me know what y'all are thinking about, what you're seeing, what you find interesting, and I'll make sure we get to it on the show. Now, this is actually something that I personally missed. And we're going to talk about it here in a second. I actually need to change this headline, though, because we are not talking about Shell Gal today. We're talking about Yak Gotti, Yak Gotti's bond, and Jayz. There we go. So let me change this real quick before we get into it. Boom, got him in there. So this is actually something I missed that happened later on last week, and I didn't see a lot of people talking about this. So Yak Gotti actually has new representation. I know, and a lot of you may not have heard this. A lot of you may have heard it and seen this document, but Kayla Bumpus took over. Well, I don't even want to say took over. She's co-counsel with Max and is helping handle the situation with getting Shannon out of jail. Well, not only is she handling that, but she's also working with Yak Gotti and trying to get him his bond. And we're going to talk about his emergency motion here in a second. But Thugger Daily posted this last week some point, and I completely missed it and disregarded it. What does he say? Kayla Bumpus is now representing Yak Gotti on his charges related to a fight he got into in June. He was charged with aggravated assault, aggravated battery, and jail riot charges. She will be attempting to get him out on bond. All right, so here's the first thing that Kayla filed on the 4th, and it's a waiver of arraignment and entry of appearance. What does it say? Comes now, defendant Diamante Kendrick, by and through his attorney below, signed and enters his plea of not guilty to the charges against him in the indictment and / accusation, and waives formal arraignment. The time within which defendant shall have to file motions is governed by the scheduling order will be entered by the court. Counsel has instructed the defendant of his / her duty to keep the clerk informed of any changes, address and has. And then defendant is represented by Kayla Bumpus. All right, y'all see that here, right? It's got her bar number, address. We don't need all that, her email, and so forth. All right, so Kayla's been putting in work on this. Also, we see what the charges here: aggravated battery, aggravated assault, and riot in penal institution. Now, Doug's going to go on to talk about this, and we're going to see it later. When you're in Rice Street, I mean, you kind of have to do these things to survive. And we even saw the Department of Justice say, listen, this jail is not safe for anyone. These Fulton County jails in general are just an issue. So some of these may be able to go away depending on the facts surrounding these situations. But I also wanted to get into, speaking of Doug Weinstein, he spoke about this a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, when it comes to his former client, I believe it is now, getting this motion for bond. So let's see what Doug Weinstein has to say. And shout out to Doug, man. He's been doing some great interviews and content.
So I see that there has been a motion for bond filed by Caleb Bumpus to bond Diamante out for the charges that he picked up while in Rice Street. And I'm sure that Caleb will end up prevailing on this. The shame is that, you know, if you're locked up in Rice Street for 30 months, awaiting or while on trial, and you are charged with gang activity, you're going to pick up charges just surviving at Rice Street. So
it's a fact.
It's really a shame that these are pending. I know in a lot of other states, when this kind of stuff happens, and you're found not guilty on the main charge, the reason you're locked up, they kind of let the other ones go and you leave. It's just a shame. Here we have a man locked up, probably really shouldn't have been locked up, since he was never a threat to the community. He wasn't a risk of flight, and risk of flight is the main thing. He gets locked up, he picks up charges, but whatever. The main point is, I see this emergency motion for bond has been filed, and I would certainly expect it to be granted, and I cannot wait for him to get out.
Yeah, that's going to be a dope moment too when he actually gets out. I'm sure Doug and Yak Gotti will reconnect at some point. And I'm sure they're probably talking now as well. So shout out to Caleb for putting in work. This is the actual emergency motion for bond, and we're going to read through it real quick. Shout out again to Thugger Daily for following this trial and covering it so perfectly. He says that Yak Gotti files an emergency bond motion in his case related to the jail fight charges, which we just read through. His lawyer quotes the Department of Justice's report finding on the lack of safety in Fulton County Jail, which was made last month. And we reviewed that whole thing. What does it say? The state of Georgia versus Diamante Kendrick. Emergency motion for bond. Comes now, defendant Diamante Kendrick by and through his attorney and moves the court to grant a reasonable bond in said cause for the following reasons. I mean, one being this man was just found innocent of all these charges and he shouldn't have been held in here in the first place. Yeah, I'm going to read this in a second, but y'all think about this. Yak Gotti was found not guilty on all charges, which means he has been sitting in jail for absolutely nothing. And now you're saying because of the offenses that he committed in jail, which he shouldn't have been in the first place. He shouldn't have been in the first place because he was denied bond there before. That we're going to hold him accountable for just trying to survive. I mean, what a nasty, vicious cycle this is. I will do everything in my power to be law abiding and stay on this side of the law. Anyway, defendant was arrested on June 20th, 2024 for the following offenses: aggravated assault, aggravated battery, and riot in a penal institution. Defendant has limited previous criminal history. Defendant is a Georgia resident and has substantial family ties. Defendant has no reason to contact victims or witnesses. Defendant was in custody for, and then they cite the indictment there, in which he was found not guilty on all accounts. But for his arrest on said case, defendant would not have been in custody. So Kayla's basically saying the same thing we just said. Defendant has been in continuous custody since May 9th of 2022, and during this time has been a victim of stabbing and has had several threats of harm made on him. On December 1st, 2024, Mr. Kendrick was stabbed in his head at the Fulton County Jail. It is evident that the Fulton County Sheriff's Office cannot keep Mr. Kendrick safe. Also, the conditions reported in the Department of Justice report issued on November 14th of 2024 explicitly concluded the following. The Justice Department's report concluded that Fulton County and the Fulton County Sheriff's Office allowed unsafe and unsanitary conditions at the jail. As a result, people incarcerated in Fulton County Jail suffered from pest infestation, we talked about that, and malnourishment, and were put at substantial risk of serious harm from violence by other incarcerated people, including homicides, stabbing, and we're going to say SA. The unconstitutional and unlawful conditions at the Fulton County Jail have persisted for far too long. and we are committed to working with Fulton County and Fulton County Sheriff's Office to remedy them. If granted a bond, defendant will follow all conditions deemed necessary by this honorable court. Defendant will appear at all future court dates, will not commit any criminal offenses while out on bond, will not leave the jurisdiction of the court, will not be a danger to any witness, persons, or property. Respectfully submitted, this 9th day of December 2024. Respectfully submitted, Caleb Bumpus, putting in work. Now, you're probably wondering who is going to make the decision on this. I see a couple of y'all asking that in the chat. Shout out to Caleb for putting in work over here. Well, Thugger Daily has our back there too. So the person who is going to be making the decision on this is Judge McBurney. Now, we've seen Judge McBurney before. If you've been following this case for a while, Judge McBurney has been involved in other things going on throughout Fulton County and other trials. Fannie knows Judge McBurney very well. We won't get into that today. But Judge McBurney set a bond hearing date for the 17th. So we're going to have a couple of things going on the 17th. We're going to have court resuming for Judge Whitaker, and we're going to have Judge McBurney having a bond hearing for Yak Gotti. All right. Thugger Daily also says same motion was filed for his contraband case too, which before was seen by Judge Whitaker. All right. So this is basically the same thing, and they used it here. All right. Now, Doug Weinstein did have something to say because I don't know. I haven't been hearing anything about this, and I was honestly surprised to find out that he wasn't representing Diamante Kendrick anymore. But it kind of makes sense because Kayla does have a lot more experience on this criminal side of things and handling and how things work within Fulton County. As we know, this was Doug Weinstein's first time even having a criminal case. It was shout out to Doug for being 1-0, by the way. Absolutely killing it. But let's go and see what he said about Diamante Kendrick finding and taking new counsel.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, I just want to clear up some confusion that people seem to have. Every person, every defendant, every client has a Sixth Amendment right to counsel of their choice. And Diamante Kendrick hired the law firm that I work for, the App Law Firm, to represent him in this complex RICO case. And so I work for the law firm and I represented Diamante Kendrick in that RICO case. During the course of that case, of course, when he was really wrongly jailed, and
it's
should
true.
have been out on bond, he picked up charges in the jail as anyone in jail for 2.5 years that is accused of gang activity. It's going to happen. You have to protect yourself. So he picked up some charges. At that point, Diamante Kendrick, Yak, he has some choices as to who he wants to hire. And Diamante chose to hire another law firm. And that is his right. So I can't step in and represent somebody that doesn't hire me. That doesn't mean our relationship has changed at all. It doesn't mean I have any less love for Diamante and his mom, Tasha. They are still family. They just chose for their own reasons to hire somebody else to represent him on these charges, these far lesser charges than were at stake in the RICO case. So I respect that decision, not offended by that decision. It's not uncommon. It happens all the time. So everybody that is, expressing various forms of emotion about that, my suggestion is
I didn't even know it happened.
And respect Diamante's choices there.
Yep, and shout out to Doug again. Amazing job. Doug's job is done. He got a major win. His client is walking free. Imagine being able to say that. Amazing work. So shout out to Doug. He did his job. He gets to just say her prayer and hope Yak gets out soon. I think Kayla, she's going to do a good job. She's putting in the work, and we'll see what happens for Yak and Shannon. Hopefully they can get back home before the holidays. Anyway, what do y'all think? Let me know. Shout out to Floyd in the building, dropping the 20 bomb. Says, is Judge Whitaker the one that will hear this? No. And I saw that in the chat earlier, Floyd. Thank you for asking that question. Thugger Daily said it is going to be Judge McBurney, and he set the bond hearing for Tuesday the 17th. So a week from today. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Also, y'all remember, court is going to resume next week on that same day. So that's going to be interesting to see. A lot of y'all are saying good morning in here. Good morning and shout out to everybody who's in the building. Rice Street said he picked the cheaper of the two. Yeah, and who knows? I mean, yeah, who knows? Kayla might even do it for free. He might be like, I'm already working on Shannon's case. You know, I'm going to be running to the same places. We might as well get it done. So shout out to her. Somebody asked about her license. Oh, Ashley did. Shout out to Ashley. Said Kayla must have a bar license in Georgia and Texas too. I can't remember. I think she does have her license in Texas, but I cannot remember. Samson's in here, says McBurney does have his own YouTube. Really? I did not know that. I did not know that at all. They said Kayla is the queen of bonds. Yeah, that's a great point. Woody even mentioned that before. He said when he was in jail and he hadn't met Kayla yet, he was asking around and trying to find out, hey man, I'm trying to get out of here. I'm trying to get out of here. What am I going to do? They said, you need to call Kayla. So shout out to Kayla, man. When it's time to get out of jail, it seems like she's the one to call. All right. I think I got, shout out to Dialogue with Me, said Team Kayla. There you go. Yes, Kayla is licensed in both states. Shout out to her, man. That's dope. All right, here we go. So our next topic is we're going to get a little bit back into what's going on with Jayz. We've got an update. We've got an update on Jayz. And man, I tell you, this thing is getting so interesting. And I'm excited to hear y'all's take on this because Jayz is absolutely not backing down. And we're going to find out what's going on here in a second. So let me know what y'all's thoughts are. This pains me to do, but we're going to listen to this video from CNN. I know it's here. So let's just take it for what it is. All right. We're going to hear what CNN has to say overall about the situation with Jayz, Diddy, and this alleged victim in this new lawsuit. Here we go.
This morning, rap mogul Jayz is denying allegations he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jayz. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was sexually assaulted by both men at a Video Music Awards after party in 2000. In a blistering statement, Jayz accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?" He added, "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people." Joining us now, Joey Jackson, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. There's a lot to unpack here. Joey, I want to start with just the statement from Jayz, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it. It's long, where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
So based on the allegations, Jessica, good morning. Good to see you. I think that it certainly could be. Why do I say that? Now, he, of course is more than annoyed, would be an understatement. He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because rape in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint, is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down, raped her, and that, of course, the allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors. And if true, right, you could pursue it criminally. Now, with respect to the evidentiary value, yes, it happened 24 years ago, right, more than 24 years ago. But in the allegations, there's a few things. Number one, there's allegation that another celebrity was present at the time, right, in addition to other people.
A female.
Number two, there's the claim by the victim, right, that she left, that she went and she was seen by a gas attendant who saw her in distress. Number three, that she phone called her dad, who showed up, the 13-year-old, and now removed her. So civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law, but if true, it could rise to the level of criminality, and we'll see what happens, or if the DA looks and investigates.
So what happens now?
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact-finding, right? Before that, just briefly, there was a demand letter sent. And a demand letter is a letter being sent by a lawyer saying, hey, I don't have to sue you. We can sit, we can mediate it. If we reach an agreement, it never sees the light of day.
Now, the interesting thing about that is Tony Busby said he's already reached an agreement with several celebrities that were mentioned throughout these different lawsuits. Also, the interesting thing with this is, I mentioned this yesterday, when it comes to these civil suits, it's really, this lawyer talks about the facts behind it. To me, in most cases, it's more about who's going to fight the most. Which side's going to fight the most? Is Jay-Z going to fight and take this the whole way? They're going to go to court, go through the whole entire process. I mean, it might be worth it. And then you put yourself at risk of things going not your way. And with someone like Jay-Z, it might be easier just to write a check and have it done with. It saves you time, saves you embarrassment. But now that all of this is public, because Tony Busby wasn't able to either get the number that he wanted out of Jay-Z, or Jay-Z just said, I'm not even going to entertain that fact. Now we're here at this situation. And it seems like Jay-Z's ready to fight this all the way.
Jay-Z saying, I don't care about your demand letter. I look at it as blackmail. You want to sue me, sue me. You want to look at it criminally, look at it criminally, but it'll go through the fact-finding process. If a trial is necessary to determine the facts, that's what will happen, but it'll be deemed civil. No indication at this point as to whether or not any criminal investigation will ensue as a result of this.
Yeah, and Jay-Z came back incredibly forcefully against these allegations and really singled out that attorney as well for being, I'm paraphrasing here, but greedy, saying he's out to get money, and calling that letter essentially blackmail.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Jessica, also suing the attorney, saying he's intimidating him, harassing him, etc. Now, demand letters are not new. What lawyers do is they send them out as a matter of protocol and practice so that you can expedite the process. At the same time, there's certain ethical standards that you have to use, and you have to have a good faith factual belief that this is true. Now, you can argue this complaint was filed in October, right? Could have mentioned Jay-Z then. You didn't. Why? It was amended now to include him.
That's a great point.
Are the factual assertions true? Are they fact or fiction? Is it a money grab or not? All of that will be litigated in a court of law, but according to Jay-Z, this never happened, is pure fiction. It is a money grab, and he's fighting for his name, reputation, and certainly innocence and justice in his view, which is he didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and you touched on a point, too, that I wanted to ask you about, which was that this was an amendment to this already existing lawsuit. What are people to take away from that? The fact that they're coming back and adding to this now with this specific name.
Yeah, Jessica, so it depends. That's also common. You could amend lawsuits, right, as a matter of course, and you do, to include certain factual allegations. The interesting thing to me in terms of your question and the takeaway, if you had this information about Jay-Z, it happened allegedly in September of 2000, why not include it in the original complaint? What happened between October and now that necessitated you putting in, and it's a question of credibility. Was he celebrity A, right, as was noted in the October complaint? Is this pure fiction? And what's interesting in the complaint is he really, that is the lawyer, tries to tie Jay-Z to Mr. Combs in so many ways, right? Birds of a feather is the argument that he's making. You can make that argument. You need the facts to sustain it. Let's see if they come up with any facts.
All right.
Wow. Okay. Shout out to CNN getting it right and making some excellent points. This was a great segment by them. And I agree 1000%. I see a lot of y'all saying it in the chat as well. Something's not adding up. Something is not making sense. And for them to initially file this and name Diddy, say, yeah, let's jump on the Diddy train. And now they're coming out and amending it and saying, oh, now she's revealing that it was Jay-Z that was in there. I don't know. It just seems a little bit iffy to me. A lot of things aren't adding up. The story seems really weird. The fact that this is just happening and just being stated now. I mean, according to the girl, she lied throughout the entire process. I mean, imagine this going to court and them saying, oh, so you're a liar, right? What do you mean? Well, you admitted in this document that you lied to your parents at that time. What's to make us believe that you're not lying about this? It's tough, man. And someone also mentioned it in the chat. I feel bad for the real victims, because every real victim, and we don't know if this lady was really victimized or not. So I'm not going to decide until we see the facts. But for every real victim out there, there's two victims that made up a story. And we hear about so many of these times when people are falsely accused and held in prison for decades, and they're finally released because either they were found not guilty or someone stepped forward and said, I can't do this anymore. You know, it was a lie. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Tony Busby, though, he's not backing down either, according to XXL magazine. What did they say? Attorney Tony Busby reacts to Jay-Z calling him out in a response to accusing Hove of assaulting a 13-year-old girl in a refiled lawsuit, or we'll call it an amended lawsuit. What does Tony Busby say regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients? Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my law firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation, okay, which we just heard discussed by the lawyer on CNN. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I'm very proud of her resolve. As far as the allegations in the complaint filed, we will let the filing speak for itself, and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media. Okay. And as we know, of course, we have something from Jay-Z's attorney, and we're going to get into the full document here in just a second. XXL magazine also says recently Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, filed legal documents on Monday morning asking the judge to make the plaintiff who's accusing the rapper of assault reveal herself. And this is from TMZ. In the doc, Spiro reportedly says fair is fair. It is not consent with justice, fairness, or the rules of governing federal proceedings for the plaintiff and her counsel to smear Jay-Z's good name. The newly filed documents also state that Jay-Z has built an impeccable reputation and never been accused of engaged in or any sexual misconduct. We'll say that. So we're going to go ahead and actually get into the full document here in just a second. But let me know what y'all think about this. Jay-Z's really looking like he's going to take this the entire way. According to Tony Busby, he's had the opportunity to settle this or to deal with this behind closed doors. And Jay-Z was like, yo, we're not doing this. I'm going to fight it. I wasn't there, and I'm not going to let you try to squeeze me. Well, oh man, probably bad wording there. Try and extort this money out of me. So we're going to see what happens here. We're going to continue to follow. I want to see what y'all think in the chat and in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. I see a lot of y'all commenting, and most of you are saying you don't think that Jay-Z did it. I'm surprised, because you hear it on both sides. A lot of people are saying, no, we have to believe the victim, the alleged victim, whatever they say happened. I believe it happened. And the burden of proof is on the assailant or the alleged assailant, which, man, we see that go bad a lot of times. But on the other side, we've seen some victims who have gone and they've told their story and they haven't been heard. So this is just a tough situation to be in. And that's why I kind of want to just wait and see what evidence is presented, because we didn't really have a lot of evidence in the actual lawsuit. We just heard the story. So we'll see what comes out there. Patty said, at 13 years old, who told their parents anything they did? They knew they was wrong. Yeah, that's true. And bad crap happened. Absolutely. You have to remember this woman was 13 at the time. He was a celebrity A. And then what else are y'all saying? John says Miss Love is in charge and they're making it up as they go. It kind of sounds like it. I don't know. And shout out to Leona giving Doug Weinstein his flowers. She says Mr. Weinstein did a phenomenal job in his first criminal case. I watched a lot of trials. This one was wild. Shout out to Judge Whitaker. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, Judge Whitaker turned this whole thing around. For always, forever, for life in here says, I hate the statement birds of a feather flock together. This is not always true. I know for certainty. A lot of people are victims to these celebrities, but a lot of so-called victims are lying. Well, let's be real. For always, forever, for life. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I think Jay-Z has probably seen some things. And I think a lot of these celebrities, is complicit the word, or they just stand by, they mind their own business, and they say, hey, maybe I was there, maybe I wasn't. I didn't actually do anything myself, and I could have seen something happening, but I'm just going to leave it be. So in that case, a lot of them do have to have accountability for the things they've seen and thought were happening and for not speaking up. But I would agree and say that that doesn't necessarily mean that Jay-Z actually did something. Again, we just have to see what the facts are going to be. All right, we've got Michi in here. She says, I agree. Something from what I've seen so far is off. However, do you think there could be a smoking gun that made his attorney amend the lawsuit and go public with his name? Maybe they needed money. Oh, man. Oh, man. I know there's a lot of people who are just going to take this the wrong way, but it just is what it is. It's a part of the game. Maybe they wanted to get some money and they say, oh man, was Jay-Z there? Yeah. And maybe they can't put him in the room, but maybe they can put him at the event. And that brings enough into question that Jay-Z, were you at the party? Yeah, but that didn't happen. And maybe she gets something out of it. Who knows? Who knows? Patty also says that is a lie. Carter has two women who did try to sue him in the 90s. Jaguar Wright was one of them. Well, I don't know. I'm going to leave Jaguar Wright alone. I've already spoken on her before. It's interesting. Rice Street said there is a lot of gray in here. I agree. Oh, speaking of Rice Street, oh my goodness, Rice Street just gifted 20 memberships. Jeez, let me get you up in the banner, Rice Street. Thank you for the support. Rice Street, man, since day one has been in here showing so much love and keeping the chat entertaining as well. So shout out to Rice Street. I'm gonna get you up in the banner. Thank you so much for the 20 memberships. If you got a membership from Rice Street, please take a second and say thank you. Rice Street did not have to do that. And make sure those of you who got a new membership, go check out the members only content we've got here on the channel. All right, let me see what y'all are saying. Jan Doe says, classes, you are no longer respected for pushing this. Yeah, innocent until proven guilty is always been my motto. So if you don't want to respect that, that's totally fine, Jan Doe, and I wish you the best. Tamara said, I don't think it's true. It's because how they are going about it. I'm more interested in the alleged rumors that Jamie Foxx admitted in his comedy special that he was poisoned by Diddy. I heard about that. Yeah, we're gonna look into it eventually and see. We will see what happens. What else are y'all saying? Michelle says his wife was how old when he was with her? Things that make you go, Yeah, he wasn't with Beyonce at the point. We went over that yesterday too. Jay-Z is doing damage control, loss of innocence. Yeah, he's being dragged into this, whether he's in it or not. I don't know. Black people are not respected because they are so uneducated about the simple fact the 13-year-old went to all these parties by herself. No one asked her for an ID. Yeah, I said that. I said the same thing yesterday, Jando. I said, you're telling me this 13-year-old was walking around limos asking people if she could get into a party. Nobody called the police. Nobody said, get out of here. I'm going to call your parents. Go home. Then she got picked up by the limo driver who's like, yeah, I'll take you to an after party. 13 years old, by the way. Then he took her to an after party. She got to the after party and the security looked at her as a 13-year-old, was like, oh, you're coming into the party? Sure. Sign this NDA. What? She signs the NDA. They didn't show, without showing any ID, signs the NDA, walks into the party. Then a waitress hands this 13-year-old, or she gets access to a drink somehow. That's 4 levels of security right there. Not to mention she was walking around the VMAs by herself. It just, man. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. James Patterson says, reading the document with her side of the story seems to be incomplete to me. And her dad picked her up and he couldn't tell something wasn't right with her. I don't know if he did it. Yeah, my guy CG Beats is in the building. Says, I always said Jay-Z was next up to get exposed after they're done with Diddy. And as we've seen, Diddy and Jay-Z are very, very, very close. They are close. They were close. And what did they say in the document? Jay-Z's the only one allowed to call Diddy Sean by his first name, whatever that means. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes, for sure. Nisha said, thank you, Right Street, for my membership. Thank you, Nisha, for saying thank you. Does the Carters even have custody of their kids? The last thing I heard, Beyonce's mama had custody of all 3 of their kids. And mama is talking, saying a lot. Oh, Lord. I don't know about that. Weren't Jay-Z, Blue Ivy, and Beyonce at the premiere of Mufasa last night? I can't wait to see that movie, by the way. I'll take the kids to see that. Unita Sim says, my play son who lives in LA says that's the lifestyle of LA. Party, party, party. Let's all, yeah, you know how it is. Not exposed, but extorted. Jaja, I'm with you on this one. I don't believe this story at all. But we've got a little bit more we're going to get into. I want to cover what was talked about over on The Breakfast Club. We're going to get into that here in a second. But before we do, again, thank you, man. We've got over 750 of y'all that liked the video. 1,100 of you watching. If y'all could, please, I only ask for one thing. Please like the video. It's free. It takes 2 seconds and it really does help the show continue to grow. So if y'all could do that, I would appreciate it. I'll also be reading super chats throughout the show. All right. So The Breakfast Club, of course, they had to cover this. Y'all know, with the news going on with Jay-Z and Diddy and other things behind the scenes. And I wanted to check out this clip from The Breakfast Club and see what they all thought and kind of respond to some of the things they were saying. I was actually surprised at what I heard the first couple minutes of this. Haven't watched the full thing, and I wanted to react to this with all of you. So let me know what y'all think in the comments in the chat and see what The Breakfast Club had to say about this.
Love, and make sure you guys tune into that. Now, switching gears a bit, I know we've been covering Jay-Z. Yesterday we talked a lot about the lawsuit that was filed, or refiled, amended, that now includes Jay-Z, Sean Carter, in a it's a civil lawsuit, rape allegations against a 13-year-old girl, in connection with Diddy as well too. So yesterday there were some updates that happened. So yesterday Jay-Z's team filed a motion for the rape accuser's identity to be revealed, or for a speedy dismissal of the civil suit. So
yes, so we're gonna get into this in a second, and I've got Jay-Z's response here for y'all. But Jay-Z is pushing, as we mentioned before, to have the accuser's identity revealed, which I think will be interesting. It's also interesting that she's keeping it secret in the first place, I guess because it's embarrassing and she doesn't want other people to get involved. We haven't heard why it's that way in the first place, but they're really in the pushing to expose this lady.
Alex Spiro, who is Jay-Z's attorney, is basically requesting that a judge looks into this and says, okay, the identity of this woman who was accusing Jay-Z and Diddy of this, because she filed as a Jane Doe, needs to be disclosed, right, so that they can properly do their investigation. They don't know basically where the hit is coming from, so it's like, we need to be able to know who this is, get a timeline. Just, we want full transparency so that we can do our just due. So they're asking for that to happen, or they're saying this needs to be dismissed because other than that, it's almost meritless. And how can we properly defend ourselves if we don't know who we are defending ourselves against? They also point out the fact that Attorney Busby has allegedly currently provided Jay-Z's team no affidavit, no declaration of any specific factual information to justify the case or anything. So it's kind of hard for them to even ask for discovery, which is, hey, what do you guys have? Because they don't even really know much about the case because nothing's been provided. So to me, it sounds like they're saying that they feel like this is a ghost case, like it's a shallow case. So they're asking for more information for that to be dismissed. Now, last night,
well, for people that are listening, tuning in, that judge just decides if it's enough information to even go to court. So it's very preliminary. It's if what they have, they'll subpoena, they'll show the judge what they have if there's enough information. And I believe I'm not an attorney, but if the woman says that it happened, it might be enough just to go to trial, just to see what happens.
I think it should be against the law for someone to sue you under a John or Jane Doe.
I agree.
Like no face, no case.
No,
like,
you got to show yourself.
Like your reputation can get dragged through the mud by a ghost. And then you want me to write a random big ass check to someone who may or may not exist?
Well,
talk about it. And this could happen to anybody. This is like, I enjoy being here on YouTube and I guess somewhat of a public figure. I don't even want to say that. But man, anybody could accuse you at any time. That's why I stay inside and I keep my movements very limited, because you could have something like this come out, you get accused of something, and then you have to fight it. That's the problem with this. You have to fight this. You can't just let it go. Man, this is tough. So I definitely see what Charlamagne is saying here. Look, although agreeing with Charlamagne is weird. He's right. And we saw this. I don't know if y'all followed it. Ime Udoka had the same thing happen. He was an NBA coach for the Boston Celtics, had an amazing first year with the Boston Celtics. He ended up having an affair with one of his boss's wife. It was it was insane. Anyway, they drug his name through the mud throughout this entire thing. How could he do this? Oh, he's terrible. They didn't mention the name of the woman not one time, not once. And then when it was brought up in the media and people are asking, hey, why can't we know the name of the woman? Why can't we know who she is and who's accusing him of doing these things? Nothing. So we see this all the time when it comes to these type of lawsuits and situations. Certain people are protected, other people, they're put on blast and shamed. Interesting.
Playing devil's advocate for people who do file Jane or John Doe, if there is enough evidence and some of the stuff that Jay-Z's attorney is saying that they don't have is provided that can show, like, a timeline of things. Some people do it because...
But if you say I do something to you, I want to know who it is.
Yeah,
you can't say I did something to you, but I don't want to put my face out there. I don't want to have my name out there, probably because of public scrutiny as well.
I was about to say, the only reason
I want to know because I'm getting scrutinized publicly, and I want to know who it is.
I can understand, and I'm just saying that most people do it because they want to protect themselves in situations like this, but I can understand the person who's being accused being like, but wait, I got things to protect as well too, right? Especially if you are coming out like Jay-Z and saying this is not true.
Or I just want my lawyer to know what we dealing with.
That's true too.
How can my lawyer defend me against a ghost?
That's true.
That makes no sense.
That's true. Now, I do want to mention, we talked about, the Jay-Z, the way he came out swinging and the things that he has to protect. Last night, the family, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Blue Ivy, and Mama Tina Knowles were out at the Mufasa premiere because Blue Ivy is voicing the voice of, what's the daughter's name? Nala and Simba's daughter?
Nyla and Simba, I forgot.
Yeah, I'll get the name. But she's voicing the daughter of Nyla and Simba in the new Mufasa movie. And
come on.
People had a lot to say about this because
Kiara.
Is it correct? Yeah, Kiara. Yes, Kiara.
Kiara.
And her mom is, the voice is going to be her mom's voice in this as well too. But, the focus is on Blue Ivy. Now, I brought this up, and number one, they look gorgeous. I can't believe how big Blue Ivy is. Like, I was looking at her yesterday, like, wow, I'm getting older.
Dropping the clues bombs for the Carters, damn it.
Yeah, and they're out, they're looking good, they smiling. But there was a big back and forth online. Number one, about the way that we covered Jay-Z here in the room yesterday.
How did we cover it?
People felt like, I thought that it was very neutral, and people you guys were speaking to how you felt, but people felt like it was not neutral. People felt like
Who are these people?
People online. You have the
comment
bloggers.
section.
You have the people on Twitter. You have a bunch of people.
It was covered.
Were they Drake fan pages?
It was
Some
covered.
of them.
It was covered neutrally.
Yeah,
it was covered neutrally.
I believe so too. But there were people who felt like it wasn't. That we basically covered it in a way where we're already calling Jay-Z innocent because of how he responded. But at
the problem a lot of people are having with this is, y'all know Charlemagne does the donkey of the day. He gave Drake the donkey of the day because he wanted to sue UMG, which we might get into a little bit later. And he said, "Oh, there's nothing there. This is crazy that you're suing UMG." And now he's coming out and seemingly defending Jay-Z in this case. He's just being inconsistent, which is fine. He's human. He's just giving his opinion. Let him live.
At the same time, there was an argument back and forth online, and I got caught in a crossfire of that, of people saying, well, it's not fair for you to mention that this is the first time that you were seeing the Carter Knowles family out since the allegations, right?
Well, it's a difference between saying you believe somebody's innocent and just simply saying, I don't believe these claims. And I don't believe these claims.
But you have a right to say that as well,
damn
too.
Right.
You have a right to say that. And anybody who wants to say, well, you should wait until things go to court, they have a right to say that as well, too. But you can't get upset at somebody for saying how they feel. We presented facts, and then we said how we felt.
Yeah, I saw people were sending me Drake fan pages, and I saw academics, salute to academics. I saw him say that we need to keep that same energy, because if it was Drake, we would be kicking his back in. No, the hell we wouldn't. Like, I've been telling you about this grift that lawyers have been doing for the last couple of years, right? Like, these lawyers will reach out to your team, tell you they have a client that has these claims, and they will say to you, pay us, or we're going to hold press conferences, get our client interviews, etc. That's extortion. And I've been consistent in saying that I don't care who it's against. And furthermore, I reserve the right to say I don't believe these claims against Jay-Z.
I mean, you do.
Simple as that.
You do reserve that right now.
Opinion.
I will say also, too, yesterday, Envy, you got something to say?
No, I agree with what Charlemagne says. I mean, I've seen it happen. I mean, it's happened to me where attorneys reach out and try to get a check. Like, it happens every day, all day. Like I said, it's stupid to me.
Especially with sexual assault allegations.
Yeah, and it's something because they try to embarrass you. They try to make it seem like we're going to go to the press, and if we don't, we're going to try to embarrass you. And what it usually does, it usually embarrasses the person, because most people, what they do, they pull away endorsements, they pull away sponsorships, they pull away all these different things and try to hurt you publicly so you can't make money. And it's effed up.
And I will say,
so
too,
they can
not
get
to cut
money,
you off, but I
really.
want to get this in, that people, if you think about this, back in November, I think it was, when Jay-Z filed, he filed anonymously. Then he came out and said, you know what, I was the one that filed. Bring on the heat, right? I think that you can't be upset at somebody for saying, I'm going to defend myself loudly, and saying, I want to know who you are. And also people saying he has a right to do so, and I don't believe the claims. Like, you have to, if you want people to be neutral and like stick to facts, you got to allow people to also have an opinion as well, too. Yeah, people can have an opinion.
But also, like we always say, we don't know the facts of every case. But if Charlemagne knows Jay-Z, or I know Jay-Z, and I know somebody's character, and I can say, I don't think he did it, that's his opinion.
Listen, I don't even know. It's not even about that for me. It's just about the grift that I know lawyers be doing. And like with Puff, we were on the same type of time until the video with Cassie came out. All right, because after Puff told us that Cassie's claims weren't true, and then the video comes out, I can't give him the benefit of the doubt anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's a big difference here as well, too. Like,
that's a great
things
point.
were so because Puff also asked for Jane Doe's names to be revealed, and one of the ladies were revealed. He also asked for things to be dismissed, and he hasn't worked out as well for him, because the evidence is a little different. They're accusing him of reaching out to witnesses. There's the Cassie video. There's just a bunch of different stuff.
And can I say one more thing? Because I know.
Yeah, and that's a great point, too, because I had a lot of smoke for Cassie when this first started, and I somewhat still do, just because I don't think the entire story's been told. But when that video came out and we saw everything that happened, I just had to say, did he? It's not looking great, man. It's not looking great at all. And then you add all these other stories and everything on top of it. Moving forward, you got to say you lost the benefit of the doubt, man. In this instance with Jay-Z, it's just things are not adding up.
We got to wrap.
Yes, go ahead.
Drake fans, it's not my fault Kendrick busted Drake's ass.
That was another thing.
I know y'all love Drake.
That was stupid.
I know y'all love Drake. That's your
Kendrick,
God.
Jay sued this person.
That's your God.
Envy, they gonna put you out the beige community.
That's your God. I understand.
Right. Can't compare
get
those
it.
two.
Y'all have to stop with these false equivalencies, because truthfully, you make Drake look bad. Drake lost a rap battle. Accusations were made in a rap battle. He's not being charged criminally or sued civilly. So relax with the false equivalency to other cases, please. You make your man look bad.
That's that shit, man.
And that's Just with the Mess.
Don't
with
try
Laura
to skip
LaRosa.
over my question.
Again.
What?
You not in the beige community no more.
What you mean
They
beige
put you
community?
out. We gotta go. They
I
put
don't
you
have any
out.
horses.
Again, you know, I find it weird that I'm agreeing with some of the people I'm agreeing with. Make some great points, though. Some excellent points there. Innocent until proven guilty. Those videos and all the other evidence came out about Diddy. We had to get him up out of there. Jay-Z, in this case, something doesn't sit right. And thank you to Miss J for saying this. I know it's a hard thing to even talk about, and an even harder thing to restate. But she says, as a SA survivor, I'll be the first to say this story sounds real fishy. And I'm not a Jay-Z fan or follower, but I just don't believe that Jay-Z did what he's being accused of. And to be honest, there's no reason for us to believe it. The burden of proof is going to be on the claimant. So we'll have to see what they come up with, what proof they provide, but you can't just go around accusing people. So we'll have to see if it's true. And shout out to Amy, by the way. Amy just sent over something that I completely missed over on X. We had Tony Busby just responded. He responded this morning to what Jay-Z was saying, and with Jay-Z about to fight this thing, it's about to go down. This is going to be interesting to see how this goes. And to Miss J, I'm really sorry that happened to you, and I appreciate you giving your perspective on that as well, because I know it's hard, especially as a victim, to look at these things a certain way. So I appreciate you giving that perspective. What does Tony Busby say? The New York Times contacted me to ask for my response to rapper Jay-Z's allegations that I tried to extort and blackmail him. My response is pretty straightforward. No one has made any threats. Jay-Z's assertions are bogus and laughable. Instead, our firm sent a standard demand letter seeking a mediation on behalf of a woman who alleges Jay-Z assaulted her as a minor. The letter was vetted and approved by our client, whose preference was to attempt resolution short of filing a lawsuit. Yeah, she wanted to get a check and make things go away. Jay-Z said, nah. This approach is common in these types of cases. What you are seeing played out now is a coordinated and desperate effort to focus the public's attention on me personally to avoid attention on the allegations made by my clients. This effort has included harassing my family and colleagues and even offering former clients money to sue me, which is illegal. Well, you got to prove that, Tony. You can't just be saying that. When an alleged perpetrator behaves in this manner, wildly asserting that a basic demand letter is extortion and aggressively using the media to attack the opposing lawyer while at the same time ignoring the allegations being made by the alleged victim, it reminds me of a famous line from Shakespeare. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. We intend to address all of these issues with the court in due course. Let me be clear. We will not be bullied or intimidated by these shenanigans, and our client won't be silenced. Tony, again, standing 10 toes down. This is going to be a fight, man. Are y'all ready for this? This is going to be interesting. Tony's not backing down. Jay-Z's not backing down. And while I get what Tony's saying, there are a couple things here. We're going to assume that it's not true, right? And Jay-Z saying he's feeling extorted for this victim coming out and doing something he's saying that he did not do. He shouldn't even have to deal with this if it's not true. And if it comes to the end of it and it's shown that he did not do these things, then what Jay-Z kind of said is right, because now it's wasting his time, it's wasting his resources, and he's being falsely accused. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Appreciate all of y'all. And shout out to my awesome, amazing Amy in here, constantly putting in work. My goodness, man. This is gonna be a good one. The ClassE video erased all doubt. Absolutely. And shout out to Touche in here. Has been a member as well. And drops the 5-bomb. What does Touche say? People better learn that if you're coming up against Jay-Z and his millions, you better come correct. Yeah, this is not Diddy. This is not someone who was a who was an informant for the FBI and the CIA and was being encouraged to find certain things about certain people. No, this is Jay-Z. It seems like he's just out here trying to live his life. Now, has he done something? I don't know. Is he guilty of this? I don't think so. Patty says, sorry, I'm supposed to be working today at home, so I have to jump in and out. And as always, the conversations are too good. I will concede a lot of what I'm hearing is from not always credible. Yeah, I appreciate you being here, Patty. And we welcome differing views here. I don't want to be in the echo chamber. I don't want everybody agreeing. That's not how we move the conversation forward and come to a better understanding. So if y'all disagree, do not be afraid to speak out. If you agree, it's the same thing. As long as we can have a respectful conversation, I'm with it. And thank you, Touche, for the 5-bomb. Miss J says, I've seen many good men whose lives have been destroyed and altered because somebody decides to scream assault for whatever reason when it really didn't happen. It happens all the time. This is exactly why women don't want to come forward, especially by powerful men. I'm not saying it is true, but stop acting like he doesn't have a history of several little girls, including his wife. From a legal standpoint, I haven't seen anything. I mean, rumors are rumors and stories are stories until I see something credible. I mean, I'm gonna leave that one up to y'all. I'm looking at this case specifically, and I'm not seeing anything here that says Jay-Z would have done it. For Always Forever for Life says, I'm not saying Jay-Z is innocent, but she needs to show who she is. Amy says, I mean, he was on Epstein Island, so who knows? Oh, man, there are a lot of people on Epstein Island. There were a lot. Which they're saying that they're going to release who was it? Elon Musk said they're going to release the Epstein list next year. We'll have to wait and see. That'll be something. Sue Moses says, you don't know if he's guilty because he's very well could be, but wait for the evidence. I know he's innocent until proven guilty. I believe that. I'm going to stand on it. It's that simple. Cassie case don't mean that he's guilty of everything he's charged with. Facts. I believe he did a lot. I believe he did a lot of it, but some are just lying for money. That is absolutely true. 1000%. Wanda Williams is in here, says blessings, Classy Beats in chat. We got Andrew in the building as well, says just logged. I really appreciate the gift, whoever gave it to me. God bless. Shout out to Rice Street for making it rain out here, gifting memberships. All right, now we are going to get into the actual document. And thank you again. We've got 1,500 people in here. Oh, man. And most of y'all have liked the video. Over half of you would like the video. Thank y'all so much for doing that. We've got the document here, and shout out to Megan. Is it Cuniff or Cuniff? Can someone let me know? Because I keep pronouncing her name. I'm just going to DM her and ask her how to pronounce her name, or I'll look it up on YouTube. Amy probably knows. Anyway, shout out to Megan. It's probably Cuniff for making this document available. It's 29 pages. This is actually Jay-Z's legal response from his lawyer. His lawyer's name, I just read it earlier. We're gonna get to it here in a second. I gotta put some respect on his lawyer's name. His lawyer's name is Alex Spiro. Okay, and we're gonna get into the full document here. So I said Cuniff, the second way you said it. Is it Cuniff or Cuniff? Cuniff. Okay, I got you. I think it's Cuniff. So shout out to Megan for making this available. We're going to go through this document and see what Jay-Z's saying about Tony Busby, because he has some pretty serious allegations against Tony and says that Jay-Z isn't the first one who's been targeted for this type of extortion, is how they put it. So let's check out the document and see what they're saying. This is Jane Doe is the plaintiff versus all these folks here. And this is defendant Sean Carter's motion to deny plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously pursuant of federal 10A or to dismiss the complaint pursuant to federal 12B1. So they either want to dismiss this or she needs to show who she is. This is tough. All right, we got the table of contents here. Not worried about that. Let's get into a little bit of the background and introduction. For months, oh man, for months, an extortionate, and I have not seen this word before, an extortionate campaign has been targeted this named defendant under cover of darkness. This campaign was cynical and calculated to force payment of an exorbitant sum of money. Defendant would have to pay X millions of dollars irrespective of the truth. Irrespective of the truth is the phrase for me. It's tough, man. That's what happens when you get to a certain level. You got to deal with these things. Or else. When defendant refused to pay and instead took measures to establish his innocence, this unnamed plaintiff and her self-promoting counsel, whose name has been splashed across headlines and press conferences under auspicious of representing her, went to extraordinary lengths to shut down fair defense. But those efforts too failed. Now at last, the false, unfounded allegations that underlie this campaign of extortion are having judicial light shined on them, except that this plaintiff is bringing them as a Jane Doe who would continue to hide under cover of darkness. Because that tactic is inconsistent with the genuine effort to determine the truth and or falsity of the allegations, as opposed to an effort to procure a quick extortionate settlement, defendant is respectfully seeking either dismissal of the allegations or disclosure of the plaintiff's identity. Now, I would be interested to know, maybe one of our amazing attorneys on the channel can tell me, if Jay-Z or his representation had shown up to the mediation, would they have been able to find out her identity? That's something I want to know and be interested to find out. Fair is fair. It is not consistent with justice, fairness, or the rules governing federal proceedings for the plaintiff and her counsel to smear defendants' good name in ways that are calculated to feed media coverage and thus inflict maximum public relation damage, while the core fact of the plaintiff's identity, revelation of which stands to discredit her entire case, remains wholly hidden from view. Whereas Jane Doe status is reserved for truly extraordinary cases and predicated upon extraordinary justification, here a multitude of powerful considerations cut precisely the opposite direction, as other judges of this court have ruled in cases involving the same circumstances. Defendant Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, has built an impeccable reputation. He has never been accused of, let alone engaged in, any sexual misconduct until today, when plaintiff in an amended complaint is going to be referred to moving forward as amended complaint, RCOMPL, filed by attorney Anthony Busby, has leveled baseless allegations and accused Mr. Carter of despicable acts while hiding behind the pseudonym Jane Doe. These claims are not about justice for victims, nor are they about giving victims of assault a voice. Instead, they are merely the next chapter in attorney Busby's sprawling extortion saga, a saga whose aim is based and measured in dollars. Busby has devoted himself to the business of extracting large settlements from celebrities, high net worth individuals, and businesses with any public ties to Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, aka Puff Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, following his indictment for sex crimes in September 2024. And Mr. Busby himself actually mentioned this in an interview with TMZ when he said, "We've already had several celebrities come into the office, write us a check, and we told them, hey, we won't bother you anymore." So we won't call that extortion. Maybe y'all will, but they've made some deals. So what Alex is saying here is true. References to justice or sunlight serve only as window dressing. Make no mistake, this case is about retaliating against the rare target who would not pay. Attorney Busby has a history of targeting celebrities by making false allegations of misconduct, and Mr. Carter sought to expose Attorney Busby's latest extortion scheme in California lawsuit on November 18th of 2024 after receiving a demand letter from Attorney Busby. Exhibit 1, extortion complaint. At the time, Attorney Busby knew who Mr. Carter was, even as Mr. Carter remained in the dark, as he does today, about the identity of Mr. Busby's client. Plaintiff and Attorney Busby now bring the claims against Mr. Carter in a clear act of retaliation, as the complaint admits on its face. Interesting. Is that what y'all feel from the complaint? It said, I guess if you take the fact that it was amended after they agreed not to meet with them, I mean, I can kind of see it. While Mr. Carter was being extorted, he could not speak out without revealing his identity and the heinous allegations made against him, which are patently false. That would be playing into Attorney Busby's game and the leverage he is wielding. The upshot would be highly sensational and equally false allegations being broadcast across social media and the press, thereby maximizing the pressure exerted against extortion targets to satisfy his monetary demands, irrespective of the truth. Because Mr. Carter called upon the courts rather than pay, he is now being sued. So be it. One way or another, Mr. Carter is entitled and positioned to exonerate himself through the legal process. In this case, he will vigorously defend himself and expose the truth. What is the truth? That the allegations in the complaint are false. Wow. But disclosure of plaintiff's identity is among the most essential basic tools that can and should enable Mr. Carter to vindicate himself. Mr. Carter should not have to defend himself in the brightest of spotlights against an accuser who hides in complete darkness while leveling allegations that describe the purported acts occurring in the plain sight of witnesses who could refute the plaintiff's claims if only her identity was revealed. And see the amended complaint, 58, paragraphs 58 through 60. I wonder, with this victim that was 13 years old, I wonder why she doesn't want to reveal herself. Is she maybe living a certain type of lifestyle? Is she maybe involved in a certain industry? I don't know. It seems rather odd, but I don't know. We'll see what happens here. I'll be interested to know why y'all think she's hiding her identity. In the American judicial system, laws are public by nature and their design. The public is meant to know the facts involved in the identities of the parties. Indeed, federal law requires that all parties litigate using their true names. Parties are exempted from this mandate only in exceptional cases where, for instance, allowing the party to proceed anonymously will protect him or her from physical violence, deportation, imprisonment, or severe harassment. Well, we've seen Judge Whitaker. She didn't care about that. She was letting everybody hide their face. Am I right? Judge Whitaker is like, Viverito, you don't have to show your face. It's fine. Here, plaintiff has chosen to sue Mr. Carter anonymously using the pseudonym Jane Doe, yet has not alleged any facts that would allow her to sidestep the federal mandate requiring that all parties must litigate using their true names. Indeed, plaintiff's allegations exhibit none of the special circumstances necessary to allow her to litigate anonymously. To the contrary, her facially incredible allegations indicate that, unlike in many cases of alleged sexual misconduct, she has already been exposed in plain sight to countless witnesses whose truthful accounts would be helpful and properly informed by speculation of her identity. In the amended complaint, paragraphs 68 through 70. Notably, she has not claimed severe harassment, threats of violence, or any ongoing interaction with Mr. Carter beyond communications through her attorney, nor has plaintiff even submitted an affidavit alleging these types of special circumstances. Instead, she relies solely on self-serving declaration from Attorney Busby. They're basically saying, Attorney Busby just said, hey, just trust me, all right? It's in their best interest that we don't say who she is. Attorney Busby affidavit does not indicate how any attorney from Texas is competent to testify as to the mental state of the plaintiff, let alone how he has personal knowledge of what happened to her in New York to supposedly cause this mental state. The declaration does little more than parrot Busby's own motivation and legal standard. That is, it does not provide any actual facts indicating that plaintiff is in need of extraordinary protection. Suffice it to say that attorney proffered innuendo and generic accusations do not suffice to justify why Mr. Carter and the American public should be denied access to the plaintiff's identity in this highly public litigation. Yeah, they want the internet to cook this lady, and they're going to expose, because y'all know as soon as her name is out, X, TikTok, YouTube are going to be full of reels about, hey, here's the lady who's accusing Jay-Z. This is her past. This is what she's done before. This is how many lawsuits she's filed in addition to that. She probably doesn't want her life exposed because she know the internet investigators are going to be on her. You know what? If anything, this case presents an extraordinary need to follow the ordinary rules of litigation and have both parties proceed under their actual names. Attorney Busby has for months taken to traditional and social media to describe how he planned to target celebrities in connection with these allegations, which is true. And he has now issued multiple social media posts about this action. Traditional media sources have somehow been reporting with Busby's express endorsement on social media that Mr. Carter is a target of Busby's allegations. Oh, so he went on a press run to get at Jay-Z is what they're saying. Thus, the plaintiff, through her counsel, has acted quite unlike a party who wants to minimize the amount of public attention on this matter. In Busby's defense, he did try and set up a meeting with y'all, and you said no. So that's not fair to say. Instead, Busby has attempted to leverage public scrutiny to taint a potential jury pool and put pressure on Mr. Carter to settle this meritless case. In those circumstances, it would be extremely unfair if the plaintiff could continue to hide behind the shield of anonymity while leveraging public interest in this case strategically to pressure the defendant. Furthermore, the allegations here describe serious criminal violations. It is fundamental in American legal tradition that a person accused of such actions has the right to know the identity of the accuser and confront that person in open court. I have a prediction as we read through this. I predict that we're going to find out who Jane Doe is, whether it's a leak or someone figuring out, putting two and two together, maybe someone who was around at the time speaking out. I think shortly what we're seeing from Jay-Z, her name is going to be revealed. Yikes. Moreover, the amended complaint itself makes clear what it is all about. Not justice, but a quick and large settlement against the celebrity. The amended complaint on its face alleges that Busby chose to sue Mr. Carter because he fought back against Busby's extortionate tactics. We got a new word today. Amended complaint, in amended complaint paragraph 32, as Busby subsequently tweeted, Mr. Carter conduct is defending himself has had the opposite impact because, in Busby's words, the plaintiff is emboldened. And we read that in the last segment y'all saw. And although the complaint alleges that another celebrity B, was also involved in the alleged actions, it does not reveal her identity. Why? Maybe Busby is going to pull the same thing. This is an interesting point. Let me finish reading this and then I'll talk about this. And although the complaint alleges that another celebrity B, was involved in the alleged actions, it does not reveal her identity. No doubt because Busby seeks to leverage his public allegations against Mr. Carter to extract a settlement from her. Oh, man. None of this is consistent with a genuine effort to seek justice and truth. So basically what they're saying here is you see a pattern. First, they mentioned Diddy in this, right? They said, oh, okay, yeah, Diddy was the one that did it. I went to the party. It was Diddy's fault. They didn't reveal Jay-Z's name. Then they couldn't get anything from Diddy because Diddy's sitting in prison now awaiting trial. So they're going after Jay-Z. Let's reveal Jay-Z's name. They say, oh, Jay-Z's in here. Let's see if we can get Jay-Z. Jay-Z says, nah, I'm about to fight this. Y'all aren't going to get me. We're going to take it the whole way. Now, are they going to reveal Celebrity B. Y'all are saying the B stands for Beyonce. And Tony's like, all right, Jay-Z's fighting a little bit too much. Let's go ahead and reveal Celebrity B. Who's she saying next? And then maybe Celebrity B is going to be the one that folds. Interesting point by Alex Spiro here. Very, very interesting. Because we know Diddy's not going anywhere. Jay-Z said he's going to stand 10 toes down. So we may see Celebrity B being revealed here soon. We may have another amended complaint. Oh my gosh. And at this point, I'm going to assume, since they've talked to Jay-Z already, that Celebrity B has already been contacted. So it could be that Celebrity B maybe has signed the check already. So just leave me out of it. I'm done. Make it go away. I don't know. This court should not allow the strategic abuse of the judicial system to continue. Mr. Carter deserves to know the identity of the persons who is effectively accusing him in sensationalized publicity hunting fashion of criminal conduct, demanding massive financial compensation and tarnishing a reputation earned over decades. This court has recognized the nearly identical claims brought by other plaintiffs represented by Tony Busby do not meet the criteria to proceed anonymously. Here, the balance of the equities afford all the more reason why this plaintiff should be proceeding under her true name if she wishes to proceed at all. Saying drop it. Background here. And who is it? Someone in the chat said I sound biased. Absolutely. I think you're innocent until proven guilty. So if you want to say that's bias, yes, I am biased. I believe you're innocent until proven guilty. Point blank, period. So take that as you will. If that's biased, then yes. Here's the background. An amended complaint we know is filed on December 8, 2024. The plaintiff sued Mr. Carter anonymously, saying using the pseudonym Jane Doe. So we know pretty much all this background. I want to see if we can find this letter. And they're taking shots at Tony Busby too. This part will be interesting. There is every indication that this lawsuit is not truly about the plaintiff, but about attorney Busby's larger unsavory agenda. Despite plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously, plaintiff's counsel is doing everything to draw widespread attention to her. The same day the amended complaint was filed naming Mr. Carter, attorney Busby posted on Instagram and Twitter prominently featuring himself addressing the amended complaint and making clear this is not about his clients, but about his personal spat with Mr. Carter. Exhibit 4, and then they have Exhibit 5. We read this one already earlier today, and then Exhibit 5. I actually haven't seen this yet. Tony Busby, what does he say? He says, recognize this guy? This is a picture of Weapons Platoon Commander, Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 4th Marines. Oh, Tony Busby. Give it up, man. Salute and thank you for your service, sir. Thank you. What does he say here? From our old Western Pacific cruise book. Despite a coordinated and aggressive effort that has included harassing my kids, contacting my clients and former clients to encourage them to sue me, contacting my colleagues or former employees, asking if I've abused them, showing up at my current employees' homes to harass them, filing frivolous cases against me and my law firm, defaming me with outrageous assertions to anyone who will listen, and having mysterious people follow me and my family. I'm still that guy. I won't be bullied or intimidated. People will see through the effort to discredit me and my clients, and the truth will be revealed. I also won't allow anyone to scare my clients into silence. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I am quite certain the sun is coming. Now, Mr. Busby, we know every single person that came to you. We know for a fact, well, I won't say we know, but it's highly unlikely that every single person that said, hey, Mr. Busby, I have a case, was being truthful. So Let's be real here. But we'll have to see what he says about that, because Mr. Busby is feeling personally attacked here. He's all in. Yeah, I agree. What is more, Attorney Busby has made numerous social media posts and statements to the media regarding his representation of individuals with alleged allegations against Sean Combs, including that he would target other unnamed celebrities. And he said this in the interview that we saw. The statement began a couple of weeks after Combs' indictment and continued after the plaintiff, through Attorney Busby, sent Mr. Carter unfounded demand letters in November 2024, falsely accusing him of SA assault. These baseless claims, unsupported by evidence, are nothing more than a calculated effort to strong arm Mr. Carter into submission. It's part of the civil cases, man. When Mr. Carter proved unwilling to pay, Attorney Busby escalated his tactics and scheme further, threatened to conjure additional false accusations and manufacturing a parade of fictitious additional victims to emerge and further damage Mr. Carter's reputation. Ooh, so are there more victims in here? Uh-oh. That's not good. So maybe we're going to see some more lawsuits against, or Jay-Z named in some other lawsuits. To coerce Mr. Carter into compliance, plaintiff and Attorney Busby imposed an arbitrary deadline in their extortionate demand letter, warning Mr. Carter that they would take a different course if he did not agree to a confidential mediation to resolve this delicate and important matter. I think the tough thing about these civil cases is a lot of it is about money, because that's really all that you're going to get, right? So there's no criminal charges if the statute of limitation is passed and they don't really have a lane to pursue a criminal case. You've got to go the civil route, and we're really talking about dollar signs here. So, oh man, yeah, this is going to be a tough one. So we know he retaliated when he said there. Procedural history, we're not really going to get into because that's kind of boring. Legal standard, we know as well. I want to see if they have some of these exhibits in here. And their argument, plaintiff's motion should be denied in full and our identity disclosed immediately as required by the federal rules. Highly sensitive and personal allegations. Of course, we have here risk of harm to the plaintiff or third parties. Jay-Z's representation is saying, we ain't seeing it, judge. Make it happen. Other harm, they said they weren't seeing that either. Plaintiff's age weighs against anonymity. This is an interesting one. Plaintiff is not especially vulnerable, particularly in the light of her age. Plaintiff is an adult now, 37 years old. And she has not identified any reason for the court to treat her as more vulnerable than the great run of adult plaintiffs who bring allegations of SA in their own names. Thus, the fourth factor weighs against the plaintiff's request to proceed under the pseudonym Jane Doe. Defendant's status as private parties weighs against anonymity. Prejudice to defendant weighs against anonymity. What else we got here? Confidentiality of plaintiff's identity to date. We've got the public interest weighs against anonymity. They mentioned that before. The public has the right to know who this lady is. And basically, we want to get the internet detectives on this so they can find some dirt. I don't blame them, man. The ability of alternative mechanism weighs against anonymity. Oh, gosh. All right. The balance of interest weighs against anonymity. And then in the alternate, the court should dismiss the complaint under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12B1. Now, this is interesting. A complaint that fails to adhere to Rule 10A is subject to dismissal under Rule 12B1 for lack of subject matter jurisdiction due to the plaintiff's lack of standing. If the plaintiff lacks standing under Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution, then the court lacks subject matter jurisdiction and the case must be dismissed. Federal court lacks jurisdiction over unnamed parties as a case cannot be commenced with respect to them. As detailed above, plaintiff's motion fails to meet the stringent requirements of the narrow exceptions to the rules. Numerous courts have rejected similarly vague and unsupported assertions at the pleading stage. They're saying, you know.
Right. And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
Plaintiff has provided no evidence, no affidavit, declaration, or specific factual support to establish the kind of severe harm necessary to justify pseudonymity. We're learning lots of new words today. Her vague assertions of potential harm fall short of the stringent requirements established by the Second Circuit and other federal courts. Yeah, we're not going to get into that too much. Basically, they're saying if you don't have any evidence and you just want to come out here and claim that I did something and I was at a certain location, you got to have, I mean, you have the pen that you signed the NDA with. You remember the name of the Louisville driver, what type of car it was, what gas station you walked to. Oh, man. In conclusion, Mr. Carter would request this court revisit its provisional order permitting the plaintiff to proceed anonymously and require the plaintiff to refile her complaint with her true name. To the extent she fails to do so, Mr. Carter would request that the court then dismiss the complaint for failing to satisfy, we already said, 10A and 12B1. All right. And this was on December 9th, 2024, signed by Alex Spiro. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about this? This is going to be an interesting fight, man. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see how it goes down. Again, I personally I'm not buying the story. I think Jay-Z's innocent until he is proven guilty. And at the point he's proven guilty, then we'll revisit this. But this is one of the wilder stories I've seen. And there really isn't any evidence we've seen yet to even bring this complaint forward. It's just a lot of, hey, this is my story and my friend dropped me off. So we'll see what happens here. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Also, it looks like, oh, we've got a celebrity in the building. Cat Not Williams is in here. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Cat Not Williams in the building. Y'all make sure you go show her some love, subscribe, hit the notification bell over there. Watch every single video. Do not skip any ads when you're watching those videos, or I'm gonna come get you. All right. Don't let me find out y'all are skipping ads watching Cat Not Williams videos. Go like every single video, watch every single video. Amazing content creator. And she's always over here showing some love and support too. What is Kat saying in here? I wish I would have saw your comments earlier, Kat. I know she had some great insight. Harris County rejected Busby's suit against Jay-Z. And so he amended, oh my goodness, this suit to include Jay-Z. Oh boy. Very interesting. That's an interesting note. Also, we got a couple super chats in here as well. Shout out to y'all. Who we've got? We got Touche in here again, dropping the 5-bomb. She says the alleged scheme gets them a check without the risk of a defamation lawsuit. Good point. Just gross. Makes ambulance chasers look like saints. And this happens all the time, y'all. You know, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're biased. Oh, that's terrible. How can you say that?" This happens every single day. False allegations are brought up against not only people with money, but regular people every single day. So you can't just automatically assume that someone being accused of something this is factual. And in this case specifically, we just have a story. We haven't seen any evidence of it happening. And a lot of it seems to be circumstantial that Jay-Z, oh, maybe he was at the party. We don't even know if Jay-Z was at this after party. Can we just go to that point? Do y'all know? Have y'all seen that Jay-Z was at this after party? Is there a video I'm missing somewhere that shows that, yeah, Jay-Z was definitely at the VMA? So can we get those facts straight first before we start believing this crazy story? Which, granted, if Jay-Z wasn't at the party, I'd highly doubt that Tony Busby would be bringing this case, bringing this suit, but we'll see. Shout out to Alexandra Copes with the 2-bomb. Says Latham versus Trust 1953. Trust, look it up. Okay, I will definitely have to do that. Thank you for that, Alexandra. Appreciate the super chat. What else are y'all saying in here? G.A. Bunny says, yes, but children are SA'd every single day too. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Oh man, for always and forever for life says, why shouldn't we skip ads? Oh no, that's a great question. when you watch the ad all the way through, YouTube says, oh, this channel is nice. People are watching the ads, enjoying the whole thing, and your content creators, your favorite content creators getting paid more money, and YouTube is favoring the channels too. So y'all sit through and watch them ads, man. Just watch. They're not, sometimes they'll be good ads. We'll see. But yeah, that is true. Both are true. Children are essayed every single day as well. But what is not happening every day, GA Bunny, is a 13-year-old sneaking out, lying to her parents about where she's going to the VMAs, walking up and down the parking lot, talking to limo drivers, getting picked up by a limo driver, taken to an after party where she signs an NDA, gets into the after party, gets a drink from a waitress, and then gets passed out. That is not happening every day. So let's just keep it real here. But I get what you're saying. William Green says Jay-Z hasn't denied being there. Yeah, I don't know if he was there. That's all I'm saying. There's people that want to throw him under the jail already. It's like, do y'all even know if he was at the party? No, if you don't have money, you can't fight these people. That's a fact. Catnall Williams, that's because the crime didn't happen in Harris County. They're trying to get a check before trial. Mr. Tesla said that's Rico. Rice Street said, I'm a habitual ad skipper. Somebody get Rice Street out of here. And thank you to Amy for dropping Catnall Williams' YouTube channel. Y'all go show him some love. Miss J says, I have to agree with Chase. I'm not feeling this story and I'm a survivor. It's just something's not adding up. And then, not only that, I agree, the story sounds a bit off. Not only that, this is the thing, and I'm not going to laugh because I'm not going to laugh at the story. I just think it's a little ridiculous. But if it's true, hey, it is what it is. She said, so after this whole thing happened and she was semi-conscious, right? And Celebrity B was just standing there. And then Diddy had his turn and he was standing there, and I guess he tried to put her on the wall or put her in a different position or whatever. She said, oh, then I felt uncomfortable. So I was able to grab up all my things, open the door, run out of the building through this entire group of people, out of the entire house, out the front door, past security. Then I sat there and I thought, let me see if I can remember which way the limousine brought me here. So then she started walking down the street with her clothes holding over her, as it said, like a towel, walking down the street. She gets to a gas station and she calls her dad. Crazy. That's the one I'm like, man, that's kind of wild. And in 2000s, it was different than today. If someone saw this kid walking down the street by herself, I don't know what time it was, somebody would have stopped. This is the 2000s. This is in 2024 where people are just like, hey, I'm going to mind my business. Somebody would have stopped. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Kel says, most of these stories sound off. Most of these stories do sound crazy, but in a lot of these other lawsuits, there's tons of evidence. In this case, it's just weird. Bayou says that's not true. I think somebody would have stopped. This is my opinion, y'all. I'm just giving my opinion. G.A. Bunny says, I'm also a survivor. Ah, man, I'm sorry to hear it. Not just once either. Believe me when I tell you, it's usually a family member or friend known to the victim or family. I said this exact thing yesterday, and I 1000% agree. William Green said Donald Trump paid women from 20 years ago. Why do you think Jay-Z couldn't have done it? Because I don't see the evidence that he did. NJB says you are applying your jaded adult logic to that of a child's logic. How so? I didn't really say anything about her logic. I said, I'm talking NJB. I'm talking about the entire situation. It just doesn't make sense. It's not about the child's logic. It's about, you're going to tell me all of this happened and nobody else saw this child and did anything, that's what I'm saying. I'm leaving her out of it, to be honest. As a child, I'm not going to say, oh, well, you should have done this, child. No, I'm saying.
Right. And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
It's a different vibe in New York. Remember, it's a city that never sleeps. That's true. But I mean, even New York in the 2000s, man, I think somebody would have said something. I don't know. Maybe not. Y'all might be right. Y'all might be right on that one. I could definitely be wrong. Yep, exactly, Rodney. With Jay and Diddy, they don't know you to gather much evidence. They are known for keeping everything undisclosed. William Green says, how do you know? It's tons of evidence. That's what a trial is for. William Green, Jay-Z's not on trial. So I'm not that's what a trial is for. No, thank God I don't live in New York. Shout out to New York, but no, I do not live there. Again, this is my opinion. Don't relax. William Green says, how do you know it's not tons of evidence? I'm saying we haven't seen it, Mr. Green. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying there's not any evidence. I'm saying I haven't seen any evidence that would make me believe this. So we're all basing our opinions off of what we read in this complaint. And what I'm reading in this complaint doesn't make sense. There's no exhibits in this complaint. There's nothing showing that this would be a credible story. So I shouldn't have to believe that Jay-Z is guilty before he's proven innocent. I think he's innocent. Yeah, and I get y'all, please try not to personalize this, and please look at it for what it is. I know it's tough, and man, the victims out there, I feel for y'all and appreciate you sharing your story. And I'm sorry that happened to you. T. Dickerson says, I've been assaulted several times. Her story sounds ridiculous. There's nothing that says this is true, shaking my head, and it's embarrassing for us who have really been assaulted. That's the point. For the real victims, oh man, I'm sure every time y'all see or hear a story and find out somebody lied, it's just it makes me angry. Because you even think about, I mean, what was it? The rugby team. There was a rugby team that got accused. Their entire career is ruined. And then the person who falsely accused them came out later and said, oh, well, I lied. Sorry, guys. That could be my son, man. Just making the bad decision one day, going to the wrong party in college. His life could be ruined. So I feel you. And for the victims, for victims of sexual assault, I know this absolutely angers y'all when somebody lies. But again, we don't know yet. We're just giving our opinions. Nobody knows if it's true or if it's a lie or not. The only people that know are Jay-Z and this alleged victim. So we're just giving our opinion. Nobody knows. Wright Street says, did she say where the party was located? Yes, she did. And let me see if I can pull it back up. She said it was out a house with a U-shaped driveway, I think, if I remember right. I don't know. I wish I had the memory of Cat Not Williams. Cat Not Williams remembers everything when she reads the documents. I believe that's what she said. Bayou says, I grew up in Compton. My cousins and I were causing havoc in LA in the middle of the night. A group of kids. We never encountered the police or random people stopping us to question us. G.A. Bunny said, like I said, in a criminal case, if a woman, girl, or person knowingly falsely accuses a person of assault and it is proven false, known liars should get the same sentence of what the accused would have gotten. Yes. I agree. I agree. And the key at G.A. Bunny is so smart too. She uses her words very carefully. Knowing liars is the key word there. Knowing liars, not someone who maybe there was enough evidence, not someone who the person or the defendant was found not guilty. these are known liars. There have been so many cases y'all have heard. Y'all remember that lady? I don't know if you heard this story or not. She pretended like she was kidnapped. She said she pulled off on the side of the road and she saw some guy and this baby on the highway. She ran into the woods and then they found her the next day, and then ended up being an entire lie. There's people that lie all the time. Knowing liars, they need to either get mental help or they need to get locked up, something, because it happens all the time. And it's unfortunate. NJB says, ClassE, it is personally too many when you hear the same BS that was said about your abuse/abuser. One Nation says, so the VMAs were held September 7th, 2000, Radio City, hosted by Marlon and Sean Waynes. Oh, I bet that place was going crazy. So this would have happened on the 8th since she called her dad at dawn. Ooh, thank you for that, One Nation. We're putting the pieces together. Cat Not Win says, William Green jurisdiction is proper. Both parties live there, and it's about the extortion. Judge denied Tony Busby's request for the TRO on Quinn Emanuel when he countersued. Interesting. Have any of you listened to Diddy's bodyguards interview here on YouTube? Jayz was mentioned, not in a good way. Oh my goodness. All right, shout out to Nene says, I rock with your channel. I'm just saying these types of topics need a certain amount of sensitivity for all parties involved. I agree. And I also think too, because this is the hard thing, Nene, we need to take them on an individual basis. Like, this doesn't have to do with something that you had to deal with. You can use your personal experience, I think, to analyze and maybe say what you have seen and what you've learned through experience, that there are certain things that would make sense that have happened. But personalizing this, I think that's when we kind of get off the rails. So look at it based on the story that's being told from both sides, and then we'll assess it there. And if this goes to trial and we get to see some evidence, I think we could make an assessment there. Jay-Z, Diddy, and the female celebrity are innocent until proven guilty. Man, you're saying Jay-Z's innocent? Oh my gosh. The victim, on the other hand, is a liar until she can prove they're guilty. Yes. Yeah, it's the same thing with the YSL trial, right? The burden of proof was on the state. The burden of proof in this instance is on the victim. But yes, I don't think Diddy's innocent. We've seen, well, again, it's a case-by-case basis, right? If I say today, oh, Diddy was mad one day after he drove out of that hotel and he was dragging Cassie through from the elevator and he kicked her and beat up on her. He drove out there and he hit my car. Or I was riding my bike and he ran into me. And yeah, Diddy did that. You're going to say, yeah, that's true. No, come on. We have to take these on an individual basis. We can't say, oh, just because he did that to Cassie, then yeah, he probably did go out there and was driving fast in his car and he ran into ClassE. No, that's not how it works. We got another super chat in here. Shout out to Nani in the building. Says, what 13-year-old is doing all of what she alleged alone? No tag along friend? Really? How were you drugged to the point to pass out but remember it? It ain't make no sense. I'm not feeling this one at all. I'm with you. I am right with you, Nani. I don't know. Maybe her friend. I don't know. Maybe her friend was like, if you're going to do this, you're doing this by yourself. I'm not getting caught up in this. Red Bunny says, my friend from high school did 5 years in prison for false allegations, and she finally came forward and said she lied, so his case was overturned. He lost his football scholarship. We've heard of this happening several times, Red Bunny. There's a huge story about it. I wish I could remember the kid's name. I want to say Jonathan, but it's probably wrong. Why a confidential mediation if you want justice? Well, the thing, One Nation, about that is when it comes to these civil cases, it's really just about justice in the form of a check, right? The criminal case isn't being brought against him. So it's like, how much are you going to pay? What's going to happen? It's like, hey, so let's get together and see if we can settle this now. And if you want to say you didn't do it and fight it, then you write the check to fight it. You write the check to fight it, or you write the check to me. Which one you want? I'll just say, do you think his career is over now? No. Jay-Z, I think Jay-Z, people were looking at Jay-Z sideways because of this. I think he's probably pissed, but it's sounding like he's going to stand on business and is not going anywhere and is going to keep it moving. False essay accusations is what led to Yak losing his scholarship also. See, I did not know that. I'll have to look that up. Same thing happened to Yak Gotti. What? Oh my God. I know Kat probably knows about that. John says the girl from Hoover, Alabama is right where I live. She was fined a crap load of money, and I think they've had to move away. Oh, she was fined. I remember that they were pissed in Alabama too. Yeah, he's talking about the girl that lied about seeing the baby on the side of the interstate. Yeah, I remember because that sheriff, the sheriff there was mad. He said, we're going to get her. I don't care what I'm going to have to do. This girl can't be out here wasting our resources and taxpayers' dollars lying. Kat says, yeah, he was falsely accused and then in custody for a while. Flesh of the Gods recently covered it on one of his streams. Shout out to Flesh of the Gods. I got to go check that out. I did not know that happened to Yak. Sheesh. I don't think Diddy is innocent, but I also don't believe he's guilty of everything that he's being charged with. And I think that's the right approach to take it in, to take, because we can't just say, okay, everything everyone says is true from here on about Diddy. Like, come on. G.A. Bunny says, I hate to tell everyone our justice system has been distorted. It is now all crimes are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. And even in today's day and age, I mean, the court of public opinion is so powerful. And I think that's what Jay-Z is saying, or through Alex Spiro in this response, is that Busby's out here. He's posting on social media. We've got 1,800 people in here watching. If one of the other channels were to cover this, they could have maybe 5, 10, 15, 20,000 people watching. And the court of a public opinion really has a lot of power now. So it's not just what you read in the newspaper or what you hear on the media. I mean, the new media is here and everybody has a voice. It's interesting to see. Cat Not Williams says this is going to be some wild lawyering in this case. I'm ready for the fight. I'm excited to see this. And again, if it turns out that it is true and she was really a victim of these crimes, then, I mean, throw this man under the jail and hold him accountable to the fullest extent of the law. I don't think that's even a question. But I'll be interesting to see this back and forth between Busby and Jay-Z, because Jay-Z, this is the first time he's spoken out about anything when it comes to Diddy. And he's like, nah. Y'all can, if y'all want to go after Diddy, or Sean as he calls him, right? That's fine, but don't bring me into this. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Why is everyone running if Diddy is innocent? A lot of people are quiet because a lot of people are at those parties. They don't want to be Celebrity B, Mighty Ant. They don't want to be Celebrity B. Be like, yeah, I recognize Celebrity B. I think it was Mighty Ant. They don't want their names to be brought up. So no, they're like, man, can we erase the fact that I was at a party? I didn't even talk to Diddy at the party. I was just there because it was a cool place to hang out. God dang, man. Bayou says, I never did anything alone. Ooh, that was ingrained in me at a very young age. But you guys are absolutely right. There were girls that I knew of that would just go places alone. Oh, gosh, that scares me. I know in 2024, it's probably not. I even see when I'm going around, and you know, I live in a safe place, in the safe area, but I even see these kids riding these electric scooters down the sidewalk, and they might be by themselves, or I see, you know, these kids walking in twos in this neighborhood, you know, going to the store or going to get Starbucks, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, why? I don't trust it. And I get today is 2024. There's a lot of technology out there, but man, it seems like now more than ever that people just look the other way. And if they see these kids, you know, hopping and getting into a van or something, people are gonna be like, oh well, I guess someone's picking them up. Oh my gosh. Like, with all the information we have out there today, seeing these kids, young teenagers walking down the sidewalk by themselves, going to Starbucks or to the grocery store, can't do it, man. Call me a helicopter parent, but not on my watch. Urban Mainstream Media says 13 years old moving alone is crazy. My daughter was getting dropped off and picked up. Yeah. And I mean, if she got dropped off by a friend, right? This friend was older, had a license, and back in 2000, I mean, they would have had to be at least 15 years old. 16 to drive by themselves. What is going on with this story, y'all? And the more I think about it, I don't know. All right, I was going to, let me see. I appreciate y'all being interactive too and having the comments. I love having this conversation with y'all in the chat. I think tomorrow we're going to do some phone calls. So y'all be ready. Tomorrow on the morning show, I'm going to open up the phone lines and y'all could call in and talk about anything that's going on in the world right now. You want to talk about United Healthcare assassination? You want to talk about Drake? You want to talk about Jayz? What's going on? Whatever. I'm going to open up the phone lines tomorrow. Y'all can call in and say what's up, and we'll have some more good conversation. But again, thank you so much to everybody who supported. Big shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Rice Street, for giving 20 memberships. Y'all go check out Cat Not Williams. Show some love. We're going to be back here tomorrow at 9:30. Be ready to go with some more information, and maybe we'll have some updates when it comes to Jayz versus Tony Busby. We'll see. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Y'all know what to do. Have a great day, of course. And as always, keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace.